Hello, class. My name is Dennis Adogun. This is Unit 3, Assignment A. Change processes to managers at Springfield General Hospital. The agenda for this presentation as follows. Agenda 1, Introduction. Agenda 2, Sequential Model of Effective Change. Agenda 3, Shared Diagnosis. Agenda 4, Data Collection Methodology. Agenda 5, Organizational Redesign. Step number 1. Agenda 6, Offer Help. Step number 2. Agenda 7, People Alignment. Step number 3. Agenda 8, Reinforcing New Behaviors. Step number 4. And finally, Agenda 9, Summary. Introduction. A vast drug event has been reported to kill or harm over 770,000 patients annually in the United States hospitals. 770,000 patients annually. Also, handwriting identification has been implicated as the most common type of error leading to this problem. There is need to stem the tide and save lives. Therefore, change is imminent. Allow me to say that effective change in every organization involves both content, that's what's being changed, and process, how the change process are being implemented. In both cases, however, you have a role to play as managers of this organization. Managers are change agents. Effective change must be implemented systematically, following a logical sequence. Based on that, I will propose the processes depicted in the next slide, which is Figure 1. Figure 1, Sequential Model of Effective Change. This figure appears to be self-explanatory, and at the beginning it has shared diagnosis as the foundation upon which every effective change can be based. There are 4 steps involved here. Step 1, organizational redesign. Step 2, help. Step 3, systems and structures. Step 3, people change. Then finally, step 4, systems and structures. In the following slides, I'm going to go through each of these steps one after the other. Shared diagnosis. As can be seen from Figure 1, the process starts with a shared diagnosis involving all employees of the organization. Why is this necessary anyway? Shared diagnosis is necessary for the following reasons. Shared diagnosis builds dissatisfaction with the status quo. Thus, the way people have always done their duties. If they are involved in the process of diagnosing the inefficiency of that process, it has to build in them dissatisfaction with that process. Shared diagnosis builds commitment to enact new behaviors aimed at improving or changing the existing processes or existing behavior that has not yielded fruits. Then, broad-based participation has overcome defensiveness and resistance to change, where someone once said change is constant, but people do not want to change as a matter of fact. So people everywhere in the world Both in political life, in organizational life, resist change. There are certain reasons why this is so. Take, for instance, that the diagnosis identifies handwriting identification as the most common problem leading to adverse drug events. Questions will be, who writes the prescriptions? Well, of course, physicians. Who interprets the prescriptions? Pharmacists and nurses. If pharmacists and nurses, I take that again. If physicians, pharmacists and nurses have been part of the diagnosis, they will become more disposed to want to make the necessary behavioral changes to accommodate the new strategic direction. However, effective diagnosis must flow from valid data about the organization. Data collection methodology. There are three basic data collection methods that organizations can use to get valid data about the organization. The first one is questionnaires. The second is diagnostic interviews. The third is behavioral observations, where, as you may be aware of as managers, questionnaires can be self-administered that has a list of some questions that people can fill in, from where data can be generated and interpreted. The advantages of using questionnaire is that you can distribute questionnaire to as many people as possible, and it's cheap to administer questionnaires. They are easy to collate, and valuable data can also be generated. The second one is diagnostic interviews. This one is a little bit more targeted at some individuals. So you interview them to get information or data about them in relation to the organization and the problems of the organization. The third one is behavioral observations. This, a trained behaviorist can be engaged who will become a participant observer while the job is being done, so as to get on the job data about how employees behave. As it were, Spector 2013 suggests that the use of diagnostic interviews and behavioral observation to collect rich and valid data about how employees behave and how the organization functions. It suggests also that create a dialogue of discovery. That's the process of analyzing and making sense of data that has been collected as part of an organizational diagnosis. Also, ensure mutual engagement in the discovery stage. This means making sure that everybody involved, employees, managers, and all major stakeholders are involved in the discovery stage. He went further to say that mutual engagement can be enhanced when you as managers feed back to employees what you have learned from the diagnosis process. Use feedback as an opportunity to generate more learning. What it means is as to interact or engage with the employees, giving them feedback based on their behavioral patterns. There are lessons to be learned. So as you learn these lessons, you generate more data. Create opportunities for after-action review. And I went on to say that after-action review will provide an opportunity for a sharply focused and timely mutual engagement that can lead to quick corrections. Getting people together to evaluate certain actions that have been taken in the past with a view to learning some lessons and making corrections to what is not being done properly. Organizational redesign. This is the first step in the processes that was depicted in Figure 1. Diagnosis exposes the current realities in the organization, and combined with mutual engagement, it provides both the motivation for and target of change. Organizational design is the management both formal. Sorry, I take that again. Organizational design is the arrangements, both formal and informal, that an organization calls upon in order to shape employees' behaviors. Because everything an employee does or do at work is behavioral. Effective change implementation starts with the informal designs, thus defining roles and responsibilities of employees, defining relationship with the organization and between the organization and the external stakeholders. Again, take for instance that the diagnosis identifies handwriting identification as the most common problem leading to adverse drug event. Since physicians write prescriptions, which are interpreted by the pharmacists and nurses, we might choose to start the change implementation with the physicians, pharmacists, and nurses in participate in a particular session, say pediatrics. This is called a pilot project. It has to focus on quick wins, or what we normally term low-hanging fruits. These are things you could just do and get almost immediate results. Now, in selecting a pilot project, you must be mindful of the following. First, select a self-contained unit with clear and measurable outcomes. This is important so that whatever changes are being implemented, the result can be seen or measured. Select a unit or process of strategic importance to the organization. And select a unit or process where success is most likely. This is very, very important, because if you start with a unit or a department and success is seen, there are measurable results to show for the effort. It has to generate a momentum. It has to motivate people and the entire organization to go further to the next step. Recall that handwriting identification was identified as a major problem. Isn't it worthwhile to start by making all physicians to learn to write legibly? Research shows that physicians write illegibly because they write in a hurry, considering the large number of patients they have to attend to and reports to be written. Now, if this is the case, will more training and development help physicians to learn to write more legibly? With proper planning and scheduling help reduce the pressure on physicians? Will mentoring and coaching help? If yes is your answer to all of this as managers, then provide the needed help as managers. This is stage 2 of the change processes. For physicians to learn to write legibly will require behavioral change. They must become more painstaking and meticulous. They must become more deliberate and patient. Hopefully, the training and development you have provided as manager in step 2 would have helped some develop these competencies and skills. However, some physicians may find it difficult to make the switch. If that happens, some physicians must be identified and replaced. This is described as getting the right people on the bus and, as much as possible, the wrong people off the bus. Thus, in step 3, you as manager need to do the following: define people alignment and its role in implementing strategic renewal and organizational change. Understand how to match selection and recruitment with the shifting requirement of behavioral change. What this means is that, okay, assuming some people have deliberately refused to learn the new skills and competencies to make the switch, and the only option you have as managers is to, well, let them off the bus in order to attract more. So now, in the process of selection and recruiting new staff to fill the vacancies, the new behavioral pattern must be part of that selection processes, so that you don't bring in people who will eventually end up being like the people you just replaced anyway. To be successful, appropriate feedback mechanism is necessary. Make sure the feedback is offered in a way to maximize its impact on behaviors. Make sure that the feedback moves employees toward new behavior rather than reinforcing old behaviors. You reinforcing new behaviors. Step number 4. You as managers must reinforce the behaviors through change in organizational structure. Yeah, this could become necessary, wherein the reporting line, mode of communications, and some other aspect of organizational chart are rearranged in such a way as to emphasize this new behavioral pattern. Then, systems, you could use appropriate compensation that rewards the desired behaviors. Well, you could also use technology. You could select and deploy an appropriate software. Organizational structures is more than just bosses and lines. It is a way to focus the activities on employees. Use functional structure to shape the development of technical skills and expert knowledge on the part of employees. Well, there's a downside to this anyway. This might create silos. Organizations seeking to create seamless coordination across functions may find that the silos erected across functional structures get in the way. So, if this becomes the case, there are different options that can be deployed. You could use matrices, you could use a combination of other organizational structures. So, having said all this, I will now summarize. Effective change implementation proceeds in a logical sequence of interventions. Shared diagnosis sets the stage for effective change implementation by bringing to the fore any misalignment that may exist between patterns of behavior and a desired new strategy. In step 1, redesign considered alternative patterns of behavior that will help the organization create and sustain outstanding performance. In step 2, training and development helps employees acquire the required new skills and behaviors. In step 3, people change decision ensures that the organization has employees with the needed competencies and behaviors. In step 4, organizational leaders, where I'm talking to you managers as leaders of the organization, reinforce the new behaviors through structures, system, and technology. Know that having started with informal processes from shared diagnosis through step 3, step 4 is a formal HR processes such as compensation and measurement, reporting structures, etc. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for watching. At this time, if you have any questions, kindly ask. If there are no questions, thank you for your time. It's been wonderful having you around. Thanks and God bless. Bye bye.